On May 11th, Harrison Butker, kicker for the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, gave the commencement address at Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas. I have never seen such an uproar over a commencement address. Every online publication I read has had multiple articles about it. What did Butker say? Quote, "I'm on the stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. She became my wife and embraced one of the most important titles of all, homemaker. As men," he continued, "we set the tone of the culture, and when that is absent, disorder, dysfunction, and chaos set in. This absence of men in the home is what plays a large role in the violence we see all around the nation." He attacked Pride Month, asking why we should celebrate one of the 7 deadly sins. What has been the left's response? One writer said it was as if he lifted the lid off the roof of hell. An offended columnist at the Kansas City Star hammered Butker, saying the kicker insisted on belittling the human value of others. An official for the city of Kansas City, Missouri, tweeted out a repudiation and pointed out with relief that Butker didn't actually live in Kansas City. USA Today columnist Mike Freeman wrote, "Butker represents a segment of the population that wants to go backwards, particularly with women's rights. The goal is to wrench power from a society that has become more pluralistic and diverse and put it back into the hands of a small group of men." He declared that Butker has extremist Neanderthalic views, and he represents a hateful worldview that wants to drag women back to the bad old days. Brooke Schwartz, the wife of one of Butker's former teammates, lambasted the kicker's comments by posting on Instagram, "What in the Handmaid's Tale is this crap?" For those of you who are unaware, The Handmaid's Tale is a novel about a dystopian future where women are forced to have babies. Ms. Schwartz added, "I value and respect whatever a woman chooses for her life, but it is never, ever a man's place to tell women what their roles are." End quote. And just a quick comment. I don't think Ms. Schwartz really values and respects other women's choices. The NFL felt the need to issue a statement clarifying that Butker spoke only in his personal capacity and that the league is steadfast in its commitment to inclusion. A Change.org petition the following week called on the Chiefs to fire Butker. The left-wing British paper The Guardian said bigots feel emboldened to express their views from university podiums. The left-wing online publication Vox called his address misogynistic and a textbook case of conservative sexism and homophobia. One Hollywood writer said, quote, "His speech is vile, dangerous, and 100% toxic." End quote. Butker is a traditional Catholic giving a speech to traditional Catholic students graduating from a traditionalist Catholic school. So he sounded like a traditionalist Catholic. Duh. So why is the hatred of his speech so intense? One writer in National Review said, quote, "None of this should surprise us by now. The post-Christian left has erected a neo-pagan religion of its own, a kind of inversion of Christianity that consists of an unstable admixture of abortion, sexual liberation, gender ideology, and identity politics. If you speak against any of those things, you have committed blasphemy and must be targeted and destroyed." End quote. The Federalist observed, the indignation and fury sparked by Butker lay bare a phenomenon long apparent in our culture, American secularism has now attained the status of a religious cult. It's important to note that Butker's speech did not just offend the personal preferences and behaviors of various individual groups and corporations. Rather, it was nothing short of blasphemy against our state-sanctioned religion of wokeness. I've been saying for years that the only way to understand the progressive left is as a Marxist cult. I'm glad to see so many writers now calling it such. For more, see my video, The 10 Characteristics of a Cult. Well, what should we make of this speech? It comes at a time when the biggest crisis in our civilization is the baby bust. Across the world, people are not having enough children to sustain our population. In attacking Butker, the progressive left is attacking the only thing that will save civilization. The response reveals how hostile the progressive left is toward the family. In the Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx repeatedly declares his hatred for the traditional family and predicted that in the Communist Revolution, that family would vanish. Abolishing the family has always been a Marxist goal. Everything that is pro-family is anti-Marxist, and therefore hostile to the values and objectives of the secular progressive left. Butker's speech reveals how anti-choice the left is. Progressives congratulate themselves on being pro-choice and pro-freedom, but they are the biggest enemies to human freedom that have ever existed. If they were pro-choice, they would be happy for a woman to choose to become a mother and homemaker, but they hate the very thought of it. It reveals that they are totalitarian bigots. They want to stamp out all views with which they disagree. It reveals what hypocrites they are. They claim to be defending women, but they hate women who run contrary to their ideology. Butker should be congratulated for his courage. It takes guts to stand up against the woke mob. And he's right. He's right about the family. He's right about women. He's right about the gay rights revolution and Pride Month. He's right about the role of men in our society. Every piece of social science research says that the women in Butker's vision are happier, healthier, and in the long run more productive. There is nothing that progressives hate more than conservatives who are so clearly right. The insanity of all this is obvious. The Babylon Bee had a headline that said, "Feminists warn young women not to marry football stars who love them, take care of them, and praise them in public speeches." Really, what girl would want that? The Christian faith has transformed the world in every imaginable way. It has transformed our view of women, the family, children, and the role of men. This has all been the result of God's revelation in the Bible, telling us who we are and how we should live. Every blessing in our lives is the result of this intervention. Let us thank God for his goodness to us, and let us thank the millions of men like Harrison Butker who are living out the kingdom life.